In this video, I'm gonna show you how you can build your own Supermoto in 12 easy steps.
I have been into the Supermoto game for 4 years now. During this time, I've learned a lot about riding bikes, building vans and traveling the world. Now, I get a bunch of comments from people who say they want to do exactly what we do. And I think it's time for me to teach all of you exactly how you can become like me and the rest of the backpack wheelie boys.
Dropping buckets, yeah, like it's nothing.
In 12 steps, I will show you exactly how you build your bike, but if you are really desperate and want to get out on the road and ride, you can just follow step 1 and 2. And for all of you watching the whole video, I will even throw in a bonus step that will help you along the way. You just bought your first bike and you have 2 hours to convert it into a Supermoto before your friends arrive and wants to ride. All of the tools that I will be using in this video will be listed in the description, and also all of the parts that I'm putting on the bike. Most of the tools you probably have at home, but still check the list so you don't stand there with one tool missing. The bike I've chosen to convert today is a 2021 KTM EXC 500. EXC means that it's an enduro bike and it's legal to ride on the streets. The most common road registered Supermoto bikes are usually from the brands KTM, Yamaha, Husaberg and Husqvarna, Fantic, TM, Beta. Step 1. The first and most important thing you have to do to make a Supermoto is to change the wheels into Supermoto wheels.
Ooh yeah, Supermoto wheels.
Start with your front wheel. Begin by lifting up your bike on something like a motocross stand. You can use other solutions as well, but the motocross stand is usually the best.
And yeah, I know I'm dressed like your dad on his first day of summer vacation, but now you need to focus on the bike build.
We're gonna remove the front wheel axle. To do this, we first have to loosen up the axle nut, then loosen up the fork lug bolts. Now it's time to push the axle out. I use a Ratchet extension bar. When you do this, your wheel will fall down. Now, as you might see, my rim is missing a brake disc. That is because I have taken both of my brake discs off already and put them on my new SM Pro Supermoto rims. It's really easy. You just remove these 6 bolts. Take the disc off your enduro rim, put the disc onto your Supermoto rim. As you can see, I've already prepared a pair of Supermoto wheels right here. If you would like your speedometer to work, remember to bring the magnet that is located on your front brake disc. Remember to put Loctite on the 6 bolts before you tighten them to your Supermoto rims to secure the brake disc.
Look at that shit!
Loctite is used to make your bolts unable to fall off, and if they do, you're gonna have a bad time. The Supermoto wheels will need spacers to fit on your wheel axle. Put on the correct spacers for your bike. If you don't have new spacers, you can use your old ones from your enduro rims. Remember to grease up your axle. If you don't use grease, you'll get heat. And heat is no bueno. Now, before you put on your complete Supermoto wheels, remember to pry your brake pads. I used a sturdy screwdriver. Now we have a good space between the brake pads, so the brake disc will slide in easily. Lift your front wheel in place with one hand and push in the axle with the other, so it goes through. If your axle gets stuck, knock gently until it gets in place. Now we just tighten up these fork lug bolts on the side where the axle goes in, and then we tighten up the axle nut. Lastly, we tighten up the fork lug bolts on the remaining side. Spin your wheel and listen for strange noises. If everything looks and feels good, you can go ahead and pump your front brake lever until you feel resistance, until it stops. Then spin your wheel and pull the brake lever and check that the brake is working. Do not go out and ride without doing this step. Your brake won't work and you're gonna have a bad time. Like this guy.
Jag glömde pumpa upp bakifrån sen.
If you start rolling your bike right now, you will most likely realize that your fork guards will scrape against your tire. I would recommend cutting away some of the plastic with a saw or cutter like this. Great, you're now halfway there to have a working Supermoto. Now it's time for your rear wheel. First of all, loosen the axle nut and remove the chain tensioner. Then you want to push the wheel back and spin it to get the chain out of the sprocket. Remove the axle with one hand and lift the wheel away with the other. When you do this, the bike will lose weight in the rear, so naturally it will tip forward a bit. That's no problem as long as you have the front wheel attached to the bike. Now we can pry out the braking pads like before, so the brake disc will slide in easily. It's time to put on the Supermoto wheel, but since Supermoto wheels are much wider than enduro wheels, it would be a lot less space for you to get them past the brake caliper. To avoid scratching my rims, I usually put a rug around the wheels for protection. Now we can gently push the rim past the brake caliper. Remember to fit the brake disc between the braking pads while you push it forward. Then insert the axle. Spin the wheel and kinda help the chain attach to the sprocket. If your chain is too loose or stiff, you can adjust it with this bolt and nut right here. the same on the other side. A rule of thumb a lot of people go by is that the chain should go up and down about the distance of 3 fingers. Mine happened to be okay because I used the same sprocket as before. We put back the chain tensioner, then we tighten the axle nut. Put a rag on the top part between the chain and the sprocket. This will help the wheel being fully pushed forward while we tighten the axle nut. And there you have it, a fully working Supermoto ready for you to wreck the streets with. But now it's time for the good stuff. Now we're gonna go into the parts we need to make this bike nice. First of all, I'm a kinda heavy guy. I weighed in over 90 kilograms, so I decided that the stock suspension spring had to be changed. I think the original suspension spring is about 70 kilos. I ordered a new spring from WP that fits riders weighing in at 95 to 105 kilograms. It was perfect for me. Here's how I put it on my bike. If you look in here, this is the rear suspension right here. We need to loosen 2 bolts, one on the top and one on the bottom. Before doing this, you need your bike on a stand, because the suspension we are going to take off is holding the swing arm in place. If you haven't done it already, take off your rear wheel using the method shown previously in this video. Then we loosen the top bolt, then the bottom bolt, and the suspension should come right off. This is a little bonus tip. Right here is perfect time to add protection for your swing arm. I have added these adhesive weights that are made for balancing car wheels. This is because this mud flap right here can tear up this part of the swing arm. If this goes on for too long, your swing arm might break, and a new one costs 1,000 euros. Oh my god, that's disgusting. Anyway, lift up the mud flap and semi-gently just pull out the suspension. Loosen up this bolt right here, start twisting the whole spring and make sure this red thing is also twisting. There are tools to do this, but I just use my strong hands. Keep on twisting until the red part is so loose that you can loosen it freely. Now look at the bottom of the suspension and pull the spring back a bit. Pull this part down, take this metal safety part off. I use a small screwdriver. Then lift both parts off and finally remove the spring. Take your new spring and put it on the suspension. Now you just have to repeat the process in the reverse order. This part back, this thing back, tighten the red part. If you're heavy, tighten it a lot. If you are lighter, tighten it just a bit. Tighten this bolt right here so it doesn't come loose by itself. Attach the suspension back on your bike with the 2 bolts, and then we are done. Good job. If the suspension feels off, you can dive deeper into how to adjust it with these bolts here and here. But I bet there are videos out there explaining how to do it much better than me. And there you have it. Good job. The bike feels a lot better now, but look at me. I'm almost falling off my seat while doing wheelies, and you don't want to look like a scorpion. So let's change the seat cover to get better grip. There are 2 good options. The first one is one gripper. It's a bit cheaper. I tried it on my last bike, but I teared a lot of my pants and even on my ass. The other option I can recommend is a fully custom seat cover. It has great grip, and since you can customize it yourself, it looks great. As usually, all of the products I'm using are linked in the description. All you need to remove the old seat cover is a small pincer and a small flat screwdriver. Then you put the new seat cover on and staple the corners of the underside of the seat. Now we can actually ride the bike and have a nice experience. And we have arrived to the best part. We are now gonna get some decals going. On all of my previous bikes I have had decals from Bold Designs, the best in the game. I talked with one of the designers and asked for a white, black and fluo orange design with my name on it, and some other customizations I wanted. The decal kit was done and it was time to apply it. And I did it. But my phone that had all the footage on it got water damaged while partying on the Supermoto Sweden festival. So unfortunately, I don't have anything to show you. But here's an in-depth guide on how to apply Bold decals from the Bold Designs YouTube channel. The video will also be linked in the description. Anyway, here's how the bike turned out. Yeah boy, look at the motherfucking bike, no! But let's get over to the next step. It's time to change headlight. This is a quite easy step. You loosen these rubber straps on both sides, lift the headlight plastics up a bit and then forward. First release the brake line away from the plastics. Disconnect the headlight from the bike's electrical system. You got the headlight loose. Good job! Now we just have to loosen the screws holding the headlight attached to the plastics. It should be 3 screws most of the time, but one of mine were broken. Because I ride hard. Pull the headlight loose and exchange it for the new one. Mine is from the Bold Designs online shop. Press the headlight onto the plastic and screw in the screws holding it in place. Attach the cables and lift it up and attach it just the way we took it apart. Secure the rubber straps and you are done. I looked over at my foot pegs and I realized that the stock ones I had looked hideous. Disgusting. So I got this orange one to replace them with. So the first thing we do is we remove this little safety wire right here. I was gonna use my pincer, but I realized that maybe it's time for some new tools. The last part of the wire was hard to get out, so I used a hammer and a screwdriver to get it out. Remove the washer so you won't lose it. Next up, we are gonna knock this pin right out. I used a screwdriver to get it out the whole way. Damn. Anyway, remove this spring, loosen the 2 bolts that holds the frame guard in place, put the frame guard on the side of it, put the new peg in place together with the new spring. Use a screwdriver to hold it in place and remember to insert it from the opposite side of where you will insert the pin. Take the pin and knock it in from the other side, forcing the screwdriver out. This part can be tricky, so take your time and you will get it right. Put on the washer, knock the wire and bend it out to secure it. Tighten the frame guard back in place and you are done! Good job! One more thing you can do is add guards for your swing arm. This protects against scratches and looks very good, especially with decals on them. Just slide them on like this, then use 2 zip ties to secure them. Mine weren't long enough, so I had to extend them and use 4 of them totally. What the hell?
Oh nice, I hit a sandwich before I rolled the bike in here.
Secure the first part in the middle, cut off the ends, secure the front part, cut off the ends, and you did it! Good job! A good accessory you can add to protect your bike is axle sliders. Axle sliders are made to protect your bike from damages if you fall. You have to drill holes in the rear nut and on both the front nuts, allowing the axle to go through the entire wheel.
You should probably wear safety gloves for this. Ah, yeah, it was very good to wear safety gloves.
On these ones you have to measure the axles and cut them to get the right length. But on the Bold Designs website you can actually find new ones that are pre-cut and just plug and play. To protect your clutch and stunt brake, a good accessory is bar ends. You start with removing your grips. Then we use something longer than the grip to knock out the outer plastic piece.
Take this bad boy, put this bad boy in there. I'm gonna aim with the hammer. Might work, might not work. It worked.
Then put the grip back all the way in and tighten it.
Well, that's not coming loose.
Shit.
Then take your bar ends and put them a little bit in to the side of the handlebar. Twist it a bit to get some grip and then push it all the way in on the grip. If you want your bike to look like a real Supermoto, you're gonna wanna get a big brake disc. And if you want to go all in, you can even get a Motomaster full racing kit. On this bike, I will demonstrate how to install a big brake disc. First, we put the bike up on the stand. Then we take the wheel off using the same method as previously. We have to change out the brake adapter to get the caliper a bit more distance, allowing the big disc to fit. Remove both these bolts. Take the brake caliper and remove the safety pin and the bolt on the bottom. Remove the brake pads, pull the old adapter out and transfer any parts you need to the new one, like these rubber cups and this retaining plate. Push the new adapter in place, attach the brake pads, the bolt and the safety pins. Now we are loosening these 6 bolts to get the old disc out. Then we bring out the new brake disc. Oh my god. Nice. Add Loctite so the bolts won't come off. Put the new disc in place. Tighten it with the 6 bolts.
Woo! Look at that shit!
Tighten the new adapter to your fork and remember to use Loctite there as well. Try out your brake pads because the new disc will be wider than the used. Grease up your axle a bit.
Most people usually wear gloves. Do that.
Then put the wheel back on the bike. You are done. Good job! Now it's time for the last step. The last step I recommend doing is changing your stock indicators to these small LED indicators from Bolt. They are plug and play. Plug them in combined with the resistors and you are good to go. Now you have watched all of the 12 steps on how to build a Supermoto and you are done. And because you watched this long, I'm gonna reward you with a little bonus tip to keep track of your surroundings. You can add small mirrors on the underside of your handlebar and you will have a better view of what's going on behind you. Some people use one, I like to use two. I like to see what's going on back there.
This is the LSPD! Pull over now!
And that's it! You have officially completed this guide on how to build your own Supermoto. Now grab your bike, get out there and ride your brand new Supermoto. And if you would like to learn more about how to live the Supermoto lifestyle, you can check out one of my other videos where I will teach you about what van to get, how to get a Supermoto crew, what bike to get, how to get a driver's license, how to travel the world with vans, and so on. So consider subscribing for more content like this and we will make it happen. I would like to give a big shout out to NTK, Carl-Alén and Littles Moto for making this video possible. And if I missed anything, feel free to leave a comment below. These cats right there, available at Bold Designs. That's right there. Supermoto baby. As always, thanks for watching.
Buckets. Yeah. Like it's nothing. In the kitchen chopping onions. Yeah, tears falling down. Underdog is finally overcoming.